Hello there, Cocomelons. Oh, hello there, pre-matriculants. Welcome to Educate. Let us talk about Karoo landscapes. In our previous videos, I recommend you to watch my previous video where we talked about the formation of a basaltic plateau as well as a canyon landscape. So now from a canyon landscape, now we form the Karoo landscapes, whereby we have got certain features and certain landforms that we need to look at. So now this is known as a Karoo landscape. These are the landforms, or these are the shapes of the lands that we see on a Karoo landscape. So we've talked about a plateau. Basically, we have a plateau that is an extensive level of land that is more than 1,000 meters high, and it is thick to a certain extent. So the plateau is basically this thick piece of land here. This is the thick piece of land. So this thick piece of land, it is known as a plateau. So to just represent it from a side view, let's just say this is our thick piece of land. So on the top of the plateau, we have got a more resistant rock. So the rock that is found on the top parts of a plateau, it is more resistant to erosion. So we say this is more resistant to erosion. And then the rocks that are found below the plateau, the ones that are found below the plateau, they are less resistant. So here we have got less resistant rock. This simply means that these ones are less resistant to erosion. When water comes, it can easily wash them away or through all those other processes. So here there is less resistant rock, and then on top there is more resistant rock. This is our plateau. It is just an extensive level of land that is more than 1,000 meter high. Remember, we said that this is formed from just lava that is erupting from underneath the Earth's surface. And then now from a plateau we form a mesa. So a mesa, it is just a large flat top isolated hill. This is a mesa. This is how it looks like. From a side view, that is the most important view that we need to look at. The side view of a mesa, it's something like this. It is just smaller, a bit smaller than a plateau, but then this is how it looks like. It still has got the same structure. On top, it has got more resistant layer of rocks, especially the igneous rock, and then at the lower layers, we've got less resistance rock, such as the sedimentary one. So this is known as a mesa. And then we have got another landform that is known as a butte. This is a butte. So a butte is just a small flat-topped isolated hill. The butte has got also resistant layers of rock on top, and then it has got less resistance layers at the bottom as well. So this is how a butte looks like. It's just an isolated hill. And then now the last thing that we have is a pointed butte. So a pointed butte is just having a smaller piece of resistant rock, and then it looks like a hill. So these are the landforms that we have, the main landforms that we have on Karoo landscapes. So for Karoo landscapes, these are the landforms that we have, and we claim that these all developed from each other, in a sense that the Karoo landscapes are actually coming from the canyon landscapes. Remember, for a canyon landscape, we say that it's just a plateau that has got a river carving or eroding it. So basically, the plateau becomes a mesa. The mesa becomes a butte. The butte becomes a pointed butte. So it just develops from each other. So this was a plateau. So it starts as a plateau, and then it becomes a mesa, and then it changes. The mesa will change and become a butte, and then a butte will change and become a pointed butte. So now you ask yourself, what is actually causing this? Because we said plateau becomes mesa, mesa becomes butte, butte becomes pointed butte. So how does this happen? This is through the process of scarp retreat. So the scarp retreat, it is caused by lateral erosion. Is other names for calling scarp retreat, it is back wasting. This scarp retreat is actually caused by lateral erosion or mass movements and weathering. So weathering is one of the processes whereby we are eroding rocks and we are breaking them apart, something like that. So in this sense, let's just say this is our what? This is our plateau, since everything starts from a plateau. So the plateau was this big. Initially at first. the plateau was this big. But now, so this was our plateau. This whole place was a plateau. Just pretend that it's not like this. This was a plateau. So now this plateau, what actually happened to it? It is scalp retreat or back wasting. So it just means that here we've got erosion, lateral erosion. When you say that the erosion is lateral, it is sideways. Is the erosion that is happening on the sides of the plateau, so or the sides of the mesa. So in this case, the scalp retreat here, it is caused by lateral erosion as well as mass movements and weathering. We're still going to talk about mass movement later on. So now basically what happens here, remember we have said that on the top part of the plateau we have got resistant layers of rock. So there is more resistant rock on the top part and there is less resistant rock at the bottom. So we say that this one is less resistant. So now what will actually happen here? There will be weathering, or there will be erosion. So it just means that this whole less resistant rock will be eroded. When you're explaining it, you must explain that the less resistant rock will be eroded away. So the rock that was here is eroded away, or it is washed away by all those processes, weathering and lateral erosion. It can be water or it can be any other agent that is washing away the rock here, the less resistant rock. And when this less resistant rock is washed away, the one on top, which is the more resistant rock, it is not easily washed away. But check out what will happen here. Let's just assume that now we have washed away the first layer and then we remain with something like this. We have washed away the less resistant rock. Now it is somewhere here. Remember, initially it was at this point, but due to this less resistant rock that has been washed away, it is now here at this point. Your plateau has now been reduced. Its size has been reduced. Its sides has been reduced. It has been eroded. So do you see that here? The less resistant rock that is on top will be left unsupported because the less resistant rock has been eroded away. So this more resistant rock will be left unsupported because we have washed away. Guys, we have washed away here. Remember that this thing was here initially, but here because we have done erosion, we have done weathering, we have done all those things such as mass movements, we have actually eroded away all the less resistant rock, and we now remain with the more resistant rock without being supported. So now when a more resistant rock strata overlies a less resistant rock, erosion will cut back the less resistant rock. That's what we just did. We have cut back the less resistant rock, and then the more resistant rock cannot support itself. Okay, it is left unsupported in the air, so it will eventually fall off as well. So this more resistant rock, although it is more resistant to erosion, it is not easily eroded away, but it will be left unsupported and it will eventually fall off. So this process will continue continuously, and then the less resistant rock will also be eroded, and then the more resistant rock will follow as well. Keep on eroding it until we remain with something like this. So do you see that here we're actually reducing the size of a plateau to become a mesa? So if we had a plateau like this, due to scalp retreat or due to back wasting, it will be reduced. Maybe all this layer will be washed away. All of this will be washed away, or it will be eroded. All of this will be eroded, and we just remain with this small piece here. And this small piece will now be known as a mesa. So here I'm not easily good at drawing, but basically something like this. We'll just remain with something like this as our mesa because we have eroded all these other parts. We have done scalp retreat. That's known as scalp retreat. So that's how we change a plateau to a mesa to a butte to a pointed butte. It is through the process of scalp retreat or back wasting. So now let's just look in details what a mesa is. So a mesa has got a larger diameter than the height. So basically the diameter of the mesa is larger than its height. So what are we talking about there? We're basically talking about the diameter. The diameter, we're talking about the breadth in this sense. This is not the same diameter as the one of mathematics. So the breadth, this distance between these 2 points of a diameter or of the mesa, it is larger than the height. So this is the height. So maybe this mesa, it is 10 meters high, but then it is actually having a diameter of something like 50 meters. So it is 50 meters wide, that is its diameter, but its height is only 10 meters high. You can even compare this just by seeing it, that you can see that from here to here, it's a bigger distance than the height of the mesa, So mesas have got a larger diameter than their height. And from a topographical map, we'll see them like this. I'm not here to teach map work, but in a sense, I just wanted to show you how a mesa looks like in a topographic map. This is the top of the mesa. This is basically the top part of the mesa, which is just that bigger diameter. And then this is the height. From here to here represents the height of the mesa. So I'm not going to teach you how to interpret contour lines. I'm not here to do that. So basically, what you have to know about mesas, they are actually coming from plateaus. So plateaus will go through scarp retreat and they'll become mesas. Then mesas will also go through scarp retreat and they'll become buttes. So a butte, it is coming from a mesa. So basically, if you have got your mesa here that has got a bigger diameter than the height, it will go through the same process of scarp retreat or bake wasting. So all this place will be eroded away. All of this will be eroded away. All of this will be eroded away. Same thing here. The sides will be eroded away. And when the sides are eroded away, we will remain with something that is way much smaller. And this is now your butte. So your butte is basically coming from the mesa. So for us to have butte, we have got a mesa that is going through scarp retreat. So buttes, their characteristic is that they've got a diameter that is smaller than the height of the butte. So if you look at the diameter here, the distance from here to here, which is just the wideness of this butte, maybe it can be something like 20 meters, but the height is way much longer than that. So the diameter is smaller than the height. If you compare that to a mesa, remember that for a mesa, the diameter is larger or it is bigger than the height. But for a butte, the diameter, it is smaller than the height. Toluti here, the height is 50 meters. So now you can see that when we compare this, that's the difference. So you must be able to just notice here that a butte has got a larger height than the what? Than this than the diameter or the top part, but still the top part remains with more resistant rock. Please keep that in mind, that the top part has got resistant rock and the lower layers have got less resistant rocks. So basically, the mesa through scarp retreat, it becomes a butte. And then this is how a butte looks like from a topographic map. Basically, this is the top of the butte. You can see that the top is way much smaller, whereas the height from here to here, that's the height, it is way much bigger. The height is larger than the top part or the diameter. And then when buttes go through undergo scarp retreat, they will form pointed buttes. Nothing much about pointed buttes, don't stress about them. Pointed buttes is just going to be a butte that has been eroded once again. So basically this butte can be eroded again and eroded again. So when they are eroded again, basically it just means that scarp retreat has occurred. We erode all of these layers, then we remain with something like this, and we say this is known as our pointed butte. So the pointed buttes, they basically have got a small cap of rock. So the resistant rock, sometimes it is washed away. Here, the more resistant rock, sometimes it is washed away. Okay, this is an example of a pointed butte there. This is a pointed butte there. This is a pointed butte. So basically, that's what you need to know. Let's look at the importance now of the Karoo landscapes, because all we were doing here, they are Karoo landscapes. So the Karoo landscapes, they are arid. So it just means that the climate there is arid. It is a dry climate. There is less rainfall. So crop farming is not suitable due to the lack of rainfall. So there is lack of rainfall. So this lack of rainfall just means that it is not suitable for farming, and there are also steep slopes. So those steep slopes, they actually disallow people to farm crops. Okay, or of course you cannot plant in a place that is dry like this one. This is a dry area. You can see that here there is no rainfall. You can see that here there are no plants. How can you even plant? How can you even dare to do such a thing? You cannot do that. Okay, so basically crop farming is not possible in such an area because it's an arid climate. There is no rainfall, the slopes are steep, you're just going to fall even if you are trying to plow here or something like that. So don't even try that. Crop farming is not suitable. And then the soil there, it is extremely shallow, or it is thin, or it is infertile. You can use any of these words, just claim one of them if you're a crammer, person forgetter. Basically, the soil, the topsoil, it is infertile. It is not able to grow crops. Even if you were to try and attempt planting here, the soil does not have the necessary nutrients. The soil that you find here, it does not have the necessary nutrients for you to plant crops on it. So in a sense, you cannot do it because the soil is thin, it is shallow, or it is also infertile. It is not able to grow crops. So this will make it difficult to farm crops as well. That's another reason. But sheep farming is also possible in Karoo landscapes. I don't know how you're gonna farm sheep in this type of areas, but the people who farm sheep, they can use these areas because, I don't know, maybe the sheep, they eat dust or something like that. But catch this for your exam, you need it. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe. Tell your friends to stay tuned.